Hi guys, this is Jojo from SC2News and...
This is Jim Raynor from StarCraft. And I want to give a shout out to my good buddy Jojo. Now, he may talk funny, but if there's one guy I want backing me up in a tight spot, it's him. And remember, you don't mess with a bourbon cowboy.
Hello guys, I am talking to the acclaimed and prolific voice actor Robert Clotworthy, known to us as the voice of Commander James Raynor. Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very, very well, thank you.
I'm calling you from the deck of the Hyperion, high above Marsara in the Opulu sector, otherwise known as Los Angeles.
Exactly, yeah. I am in Scotland, but yeah, thank you to Skype for making this possible.
It's amazing.
All right. Yeah, we're going to jump straight or right into the interview.
Sure.
All right. Yeah, I'm just going to start off with a question about your background with voice acting. How and when did you first get into voice acting?
Well, my father was in advertising here in Los Angeles, and his job was a radio producer of radio commercials. And at an early age, when I was just a little kid, I used to go down to the recording sessions and see all these incredible voice people who did all the voices on the cartoons that I was watching at that time.
Yeah.
And I was just really enamored with what they did, the process, the fun that they were having.
Yeah.
And so it was something that really kind of always intrigued me and interested me. And I guess eventually when I turned about 15, my father, I guess I pestered him enough that he finally relented and introduced me to some casting directors here in Los Angeles. And through them, I met with a talent agent who had a workshop for young people. And he signed me, and I started pretty much working right away. I got the first job I ever auditioned for, I think the third job I ever auditioned for, and started working on camera, doing a lot of TV shows and movies and stuff like that. And it was a natural segue to kind of get into the voice work, because that was really where the majority of his contacts were. Yeah. So I met great voice agents and producers and other voice people. And since I was a young person at that point, and they're always looking for a new young person, because a young person is only young for a short period of time, I guess I kind of got lucky in that regard and started working. So, from that I've done, I can't even tell you, thousands and thousands of different jobs.
It's really impressive, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, I'm having more fun now doing it than I was when I was 15. When I started at 15, it was essentially a party.
Yeah.
All my friends were working at, fast food restaurants, making $1 an hour or something. And here I was doing all these, professional acting jobs where they pay you ridiculous amounts of money, especially for a 15-year-old.
Yeah.
And, it was just so much fun. I kept doing it and doing it and doing it. Now, all these years later, I do it just about every single day. I'm doing something.
That's amazing. That's impressive.
Yeah.
How exactly did you become involved in StarCraft way back in those Stone Age 90s? Or
yeah, it was pretty much an audition. I had a friend, as memory serves me, I had a friend of mine that was working over at Blizzard, and Blizzard at that time was, not the company that it is now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking back of their offices, and for some reason I'm thinking it was a fairly small office in some kind of what they call out here like an industrial complex here in Los Angeles, where there's a lot of warehouses and companies that may be at one facility, but it's not just dedicated to one particular company.
Yeah.
And they had, I guess, leased some offices in this space. And through my friend, I went down there for an audition and met with Chris Metzen. He showed me some drawings of his original concepts of Jim Raynor and StarCraft. And we kind of messed around a little bit and tried a few different things, and I got the job, and I don't think we did more than 2 or 3 sessions at that time. Mm-hmm. And it was the first video game that I'd ever done.
Yeah.
And to be honest with you, after I finished it, I pretty much forgot about it.
Okay.
I moved on to other things, and it was only several years later when I was working on a soap opera, which is a daytime drama that's out here on television.
Yeah.
That one of the guys on the crew, I guess, had mentioned StarCraft.
Okay.
And I said, "Oh yeah, I'm in that game." And he said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah." "What character do you play?" I said, "I think his name is Raynor, Jim Raynor." and the guy's eyes like bugged out of his head, and his jaw like hit the floor. He said, "You're Jim Raynor?"
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah." He says, "I love that game." And I started getting more and more feedback from people, and I guess I got a little bit curious, and I thought, I better check this out and see what's going on.
Yeah.
And that's when I started to realize how big and popular a game it had become.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I mean, I was always wondering how exactly a voice acting audition works. It's really, really interesting. Cool.
Yeah, it's I audition for things every single day. I auditioned for something this morning. I'm going to go do a session later this afternoon after you and I finish up.
Yeah.
It's just one of the tens of thousands of things that you audition for, and if you're fortunate enough to work, you get a decent percentage of those.
Yeah.
And after a while, some of the jobs are more exciting than others. Others are pretty dull and uninteresting. This happened to be one of those jobs that was really quite a lot of fun to do.
Yeah.
And quite fascinating, quite interesting. And that's why I really, really wanted to come back as Raynor to do this next chapter in the game, because I felt I'd missed out on the opportunity the first time, or not missed out on the opportunity, but on the experience that was StarCraft. And I really wanted to be a part of the community and part of everything that StarCraft was this time. So I really fought hard to be brought back, and fortunately Chris and everybody over at Blizzard thought that I was the right man for the job, and I'm telling you, it has been a ball just doing this. Yeah, I mean, come on. When you think about it, who wouldn't want to be the voice of Jim Raynor? Yeah,
exactly.
It's like a fantasy come true.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that pretty much answered my next question. If you were surprised by the success of StarCraft, and I take it you are quite surprised. Yeah.
I think everybody was. Nobody could really anticipate or anticipate that a game like this would be as popular as it has become, and certainly last as long as it has.
Yeah, definitely.
There are, millions of people that still play the original game all the time. It's one of those games that's really has stood the test of time. Yeah. And I've talked to a lot of the fans, because I'm intrigued and interested as to why it has lasted as long as it has, and what is it about the game that keeps people coming back to it, and what is it about my performance or the performances of the other characters in the game that intrigues them and interests them and keeps them involved.
Yeah.
And they say it's the storyline that is the first thing that got them into it, because the story
definitely
is
yeah.
Then it's the gameplay, in that it's constantly changing. You're never going to really play the game the same way twice. And then the third element is the community, the friendships that they forged through playing the game.
Yeah.
And you put all those pieces together and you've got a winner.
Yeah. Definitely, I absolutely agree. I mean, what really, caught my attention and kept me playing this game and being involved in the community as well was definitely first the storyline, then the gameplay, and the fact that you play with people and friends and that you make friends. And this community has been growing over the past few years so much, and it's amazing to see, and it's lots of fun.
And Chris Metzen is really truly brilliant in the way that he wrote the story. He really followed a classic hero's journey story, put in all the elements there. And it's the kind of story that humans have resonated to for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And you put in those classic elements in there, you give an interesting twist to it, put them in outer space, and people are going to keep coming back. It's like one of those games. It's almost like a really good book or a great movie that you can, or a great piece of music that you can listen to over and over and never get tired of.
Yeah.
It's because of that. You just find deeper layers that are in there. It's like peeling the skin of an onion off.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna continue with a bit of talking about voice acting itself because I think it's really interesting. Like, what sort of preparation or research do you do to voice Jim Raynor, or are you just that awesome that you can just wing it?
Well, I'll tell you.
So guys, this was the first part of the interview with Robert Clotworthy. In the next parts we're going to be talking about his relationship to Kerrigan, the Heart of the Swarm, Legacy of the Void, a bit about the storyline, as well as, for example, what would Robert Clotworthy or Jim Raynor do if left alone on planet Char with only a Gauss rifle, a pack of chewing gum, and a cloth hanger. Yeah, lots of interesting things coming up, so I hope you keep watching.